evening. Good evening. Good evening. Have you had a good day? I hope so. It was most productive for me today. It was most productive for me today, and I hope likewise you had a most productive and uneventful day. Yeah. Okay, and we're going to bring to a close tonight a line in the sand. A line in the sand. I do. Yes, I have a quote for you. I need to get my chair. Now, how's that? That's a little better. And um, I'm sorry I'm having to make all of these. Now, is that better for you? A line in the sand, and I do have a quote for you. Healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries. How to communicate your needs. Stop pleasing people at your expense and start saying no. Start saying no and express yourself without feeling guilty. And I also would like to say, expressing yourself without feeling guilty with a softer, kinder, gentler tone. It goes a long way, that kinder, gentler tone. And this was penned by Dr. Janice Bryan. Dr. Janice Bryan. And as I've said, tonight is our last night. Not that we might not do it again as a refresher course, because our boundaries will change as we grow and mature. Our boundaries will change. So, um, boundaries, boundaries without consequences are just a mere suggestion. Boundaries without consequences are just a mere suggestion. Boundaries are not punishments. They are not, but consequences that keep us safe physically, mentally, and emotionally. Boundaries say, I will no longer tolerate your behavior. That's what boundaries say. They start to protect us, right? Remember, it may take more than once to reiterate your boundaries. It may take more than once. And if they do not respect your boundaries, then it is time for you to do what? Those that know me, what do I say? I'm going to reclaim what? My time and my space. So if they do not respect your boundaries, then it is time for you to reclaim your time and your space. Healthy boundaries define who is responsible for what, when, and how these interactions take place. Okay? Last week and the week before, I gave you what good, healthy boundaries look like. Healthy boundaries prevent codependency. Time with a romantic partner needs to be balanced with time for friends, family, and most of all, you, yourself. Yes. Now let's look at what setting physical and sexual boundaries. Yeah, and we do. These are essential, especially in the heat of a new romance. It is imperative to ask for permission before kissing, hugging, or touching. You know, PDA, what? Public display of affection. May I kiss you? Yeah, because I may not want you to get in my space because I don't know you just yet. We are just new at this. So I might say, I might turn my cheek and you can kiss me on my cheek. But I'm not giving you permission to kiss me on the lips. Not yet. Right? So PDA, holding hands, or any form of a physical boundary with a romantic partner for the first time. So, with that being said, you don't smash on the first date. Yes, I know that term. Yes, Miss Donna said that word. You don't smash on the first date. What do you know about that person? What does that person know about you? A line in the sand. You need to maintain autonomy over your body while respecting the physical or emotional boundaries, which is crucial to maintaining a healthy connection. Maintaining a healthy connection. Respecting emotional boundaries. And remember, you all, if I'm going too fast, I'm trying to be mindful of your time, but you can go back and get this and look at it as often as you like. You can pull it up off of my page, or you can go to YouTube, because later this evening I will upload it on YouTube as well as on Instagram and Thread. Yeah, on Thread. So, respecting emotional boundaries, how you and your partner express your feelings to each other. How do you talk to each other? Do you listen intently to your partner's needs? Are you only focusing on your needs? What topics do you avoid discussing? What tones of voice do you use? How do you apologize? Or do you apologize? Do you apologize? Do you resolve situations when you get in an argument? These are questions that you need to put down on paper and do an evaluation, and then craft your boundaries accordingly. Yes. Emotional boundaries. I am uncomfortable discussing this topic with you. I'm uncomfortable. And I can say that without feeling guilty. Let's not discuss that topic at tonight's dinner. Well, I don't want to talk politics over dinner because I know you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat. And we have differences of opinions. And so let's not ruin our dinner and our time out together discussing this over dinner. Let's not discuss that we've been seeing each other for a week and we have yet to smash. Not over dinner. And it's okay for you to say, I don't want to talk about this at this time. And your tone of voice keeps everything on an even keel. I am uncomfortable with what you just said and or did. You think of something. You pet my bottom and we're out in public. I might smack your face or your hand because I'm uncomfortable with that. I don't know you like that. And you need not take liberties like that. Don't do it. It makes me uncomfortable when you bring up painful topics. Can we please keep that between us, if I've shared something with you and I was vulnerable and transparent with you, and I almost feel like you're trying to bring it up for a reason, that there's a reason why you're bringing it up, but I'm not ready to discuss it any further. You can say these things and not feel guilty about it. You can indeed say no. I want to support you. I want to support you in this hard time, but I cannot be your emotional dumping ground. I cannot be. Maybe you can reach out to a therapist, your pastor, etc. Emotional dumping is sporadically dumping traumatic feelings and thoughts and other emotions onto a partner or even a stranger. Haven't you met those persons that you don't even know, and you use your niceties? How are you? And you kind of mean that, but that's a nicety. How are you? And they take it literally and they start to dump on you. Yeah, that's not yours. It can be difficult to navigate this boundary. Emotional dumping, I'm sorry, you all. Emotional dumping um, can lead to breaches of trust or even oversharing. Remember, we talked about oversharing, right? You want to show empathy. You do want to show empathy. You also need to state that you feel uncomfortable being the recipient of such intense oversharing. Uh, this is just a bit too much. Uh, I was raped, or I was abused sexually or physically. That's a lot, and I don't know you like that. That's a lot to put off on anyone. You can suggest a third party professional to help you with this situation. You can. So, see, while I'm having the hibiscus tea, have a sip of your tea, and while you're doing that, let's get the life book, the Bible, and let's see what it has to say. Are you ready? Let's go to Proverbs 8:28 through 29, and I will be reading from the Amplified Translation. Proverbs 8:28 through 29. When he made firm the skies above, when the fountains and springs of the deep became fixed and strong, when he set the sea for the sea its boundaries, so that the water would not transgress the boundaries set by his command, when he marked out the foundations of the earth. Now, who is he? God. God had boundaries, and he had consequences for his boundaries. So, when the tsunami happens, right, and the water swells up and it goes beyond the boundary of the ocean and it hits land, we have a mess, right? When we have hurricanes or tornadoes, or we've had an abundance of rain and the lakes overflow or the creeks rise, that's the consequences of boundaries being the line in the sand when the Israelites, right? How many days did they spend in the wilderness? Because he had given them their boundaries. And what did they do? They complained and they squawked. And what were the consequences? Something that was only supposed to take a few days took how many? Consequences. Even the Father has consequences. People like to say that the Bible is just a book of suggestions. It's not. It's a book of boundaries and consequences. In everything that he says, there's a boundary and there's a consequence when that boundary is crossed, right? And next is setting good boundaries, recognizing, even appreciating God's one massive boundary. He was not talking about shacking or cohabitating. Not, he is my fiance, almost my husband. No. Not, she is my fiance, almost my wife. Not. Not, we are probably going to get married one day. Not. Not. 1 Corinthians 7 2. 1 Corinthians 7 2. Again, amplified. It says, because of the temptations to participate in sexual immorality, let each man have his own wife. Let each woman have her own husband. He didn't say, girlfriends, give them husband benefits, or boyfriends, give them husband benefits. It's not, it said, have your own husband, have your own wife, and then all of these things you can do. He gave us boundaries. Boundaries. Setting good boundaries will impact how you present yourself. Setting good boundaries will impact how you present yourself. And last week I went way over, and I'm doing good this time. So, next week I was debating on whether I should tell you or not. But next week we're going to start to talk on triggers. Triggers. How do we deal with triggers? Unless God says something different. That's what we're going to do next Thursday for You, Me, and Tea with Lady D. 5:30 Pacific, 7:30 Central, and 8:30 Eastern. So I thank you all very much for joining me tonight as we brought to a close a line in the sand. Have an amazing evening.